What's up, guys? Coach Steve here, and welcome to Understanding Nutrition, a 6-part series all about understanding nutrition. And part 1 here, we're talking about energy balance. Let's jump into it. So once we go through our energy balance in part 1, we're going to be talking about our macronutrients in part 2. Part 3, we're talking about nutritional timing. Part 4, food composition. Part 5, how to adjust your diet. Then part 6, we're talking about nutritional periodization and how we can make a plan for long-term nutritional success. The first thing we need to talk about is our nutritional goals. So there's 3 main goals, and they kind of overlap a little bit, but then are also a little bit different when we're having that conversation. So in the challenge, we're mainly talking about body composition, how we can build muscle and lose body fats. Another aspect of nutrition is health, and another aspect of nutrition is performance. So if you were talking to someone who was going to the Olympics, you'd be skewing a lot of your decisions around performance, which might be a little bit different to decisions around body composition. If you were speaking to someone around health, so someone who has diabetes, for example, they would be making very different decisions to someone who is trying to increase their performance or increase their body composition. So the advice in this Understanding Nutritional lecture series will be all about our body composition, about the nutrition based around body composition, which has some overlaps in health and performance, but might be a little bit different to some other conversations that we've had in the past. Let's talk about energy balance. So our body composition is overcompassed and dictated by our energy balance. So at the moment, this scale is representing a balance between energy coming into our body and then energy going out of our body. So if it's balanced. Now, if it's equal to each other, our body weight will not change. So think of it like a construction site. If you've got some good amount of supplies coming in versus the supplies going up into the building, nothing would change. It'll be production as normal. There'll be no backup. There'll be no like lesser demand. Everything will be moving as normal. So when everything is equal, no weight will change. That's the first thing we need to understand. So most of us are actually in this energy balance at the moment where things are equal. Our body weight isn't changing. We are kind of at this homeostasis where we're just cruising at 50 kilos, 80 kilos, 100 kilos, whatever it is, and we're just at that weight. We haven't really applied intervention, and we have built our environment and our lives and our habits so that everything is kind of equal between our energy in and our energy out. Now, when we're in an energy surplus, that means that our energy in is greater than our energy out. That means weight gain occurs. So think of that construction site analogy. You've got a certain amount of builders on the house trying to put all the supplies up into the house, and then you've got all these trucks coming in with supplies. If there's lots of supplies, those supplies need to go somewhere, and they get stockpiled up in the front yard of the construction site. And then it takes a certain amount of time to put those supplies back up onto the house. So think of it as when we are consuming too much energy versus the energy that's going out of our body, we start to gain weight. That might be a good thing for someone who might want to gain weight, so trying to build muscle and gain size, but then that might not be a good thing for someone who's starting to put on body fat and not happy with their body composition. Energy deficits. That means that when the energy we consume is lower than the energy that we expend, so the energy out. And when that occurs, weight loss occurs. So an example back to our construction site, if there's no more supplies coming in, our workers have put all of the construction supplies up on the house and they're just kind of there twiddling their thumbs, and that's when our weight loss will occur. And weight loss means everything on our body. We've got muscle, we've got water, we've got fat, we've got some bone mineral density. Our body will find other sources of energy so that it can do life. Okay. Let's measure our energy. So when we're measuring energy, we're measuring it either in kilocalories, which is referred to as kcal. Many people will often refer to these as just calories. So when you see calories, we're mainly talking about kilocalories, and that's the amount of energy it takes to raise 1 kilo of water by 1 degree. Okay. Then we've got kilojoules, which is mainly used within Australia, and that's represented as kJ, and that is 1 kilocalorie is 4.18 kilojoules. So that's how we measure our energy. We can't actually see a calorie, so it's not like you can grab a tissue or something like that, or blood, and put it under a microscope and see calories. Think of calories like temperature. It's how we measure energy, and it's not something we see. It can change up and down. Let's talk about our energy in. Our energy comes into our body from the foods that we eat, and it's mainly around our 4 often referred to as three, but our four macronutrients. So you've probably heard of proteins, which is 4 kilocalories. We've heard of carbohydrates or carbs, 4 kilocalories as well. We've got fats at 9 kilocalories, and then ethanol or alcohol at 7 kilocalories. So this is how our body gets its energy in by the macronutrients that we consume. Energy out. So energy out goes through our body via the total daily energy expenditure, referred to as TDEE. There's four main areas of our TDEE. So we've got firstly our basal metabolic rate, our largest energy expenditure, BMR, and it takes up about 70% of our total energy expenditure. And this energy goes towards things such as brain function, things such as our immune system, things such as our heart pumping, things such as maintaining our skin cells, making our hair grow, making our muscle grow, and all these things to maintain our body. Now, our BMR would be the same if you were, let's say, lying on the couch all day. So if you were lying in bed all day, our body would need a certain amount of energy just to function and live and survive. So that's our BMR. Next, we've got our NEAT, so our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and some people just call it NEA, so non-exercise activity. This makes up the majority of what's left, so 15%, and our NEAT makes up all of our movement throughout the day. So me talking, me moving my arms, me, walking up and going to the other room over there, me going to the supermarket. This is our movement that is non-exercise. Next, we've got our thermic effect of food. So different macronutrients will digest differently in our body. Our body takes more energy to break down certain compounds, such as proteins, as they do to break down other compounds, such as fats. So there is an element of the thermic effect of food and how much it takes to digest that food. And then finally, we actually have our exercise activity thermogenesis, which is EAT. But that will be you formally going for a run, formally going to the gym, actually doing some exercise. And this actually makes up a much smaller amount of our total energy expenditure. Now, when it comes to things that we can actually manipulate in our TDEE, many things in our BMR, we can't change that much. So, our height, our weight, we can't change that too much. How active our brain is, how hard our heart pumps, we can't change it too much. The biggest thing we could change in our BMR is our total muscle mass. So as you increase your muscle mass, we increase our total BMR, a very large effect on our TDEE. The next one would be our total amount of steps throughout the day. So we can look at increasing our total steps throughout the day. We can measure that. If we're trying to go to the gym more often, we're hitting this 5% mark. It might be better spending more time in other areas, such as increasing our muscle mass in the gym rather than just, expending energy, or just focusing on increasing our steps to expend energy. Some people may choose to eat more protein to expend more energy in the thermic effect of food, but again, it makes up a small effect of our total energy expenditure. Let's talk about average energy requirements. Again, a massive average. So this will be your body weight just here, and then you may be able to find roughly how many calories of energy or units of energy you need throughout the day. So we can see someone who's sedentary might require less energy than someone who is moderately active or highly active. The main takeaway here is that energy balance is the biggest influencing factor on body composition. There's nothing else that can affect our body composition more than our energy balance. Our body gets energy from the foods we eat via the macronutrients that we consume, and now our body expends energy to maintain body tissues, maintain body functions, and then movement of our body. That is our energy balance. Join me next time when we go over our macronutrients.